Social risk taking. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think of like anything in which you have to risk rejection. So that can mean either with girls or just with guys, but just strangers either way. And of course, it's a thing that's scary to everybody, meeting new people and trying to interact and trying to expand your network in some way or another. So that's what I think when I think risk taking. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. Taking risk is always a good thing if it's calculated risk and you can see a positive outcome of what you said, expanding your comfort zone, expanding your network. There's a lot of good things happening on the other side of fear and taking risk. You're getting to know new people, you're talking to that attractive girl, you're jumping at more opportunities in your job and so on. So that is what it means to me, yeah.
And of course, just make sure that you're here tomorrow. That's the key with risk taking. I was thinking about, if we had to give advice to people watching at home, in terms of what's important when you're thinking about risk taking. When you take a lot of risks, eventually you're probably going to find or you're going to discover opportunities that you hadn't thought about, and you're probably going to forge relationships you didn't expect that you would do from doing it. The things that you want immediately, if you're fixated on some particular goal that you hope to achieve by this risk taking, sometimes you might not get that. But in the process of taking a lot of risks, you might all of a sudden discover that there was something else that you did that is going to be an even bigger thing for you, and something you're going to be even more grateful that you did.
Yeah, I was actually thinking when you said that what is the saying? Like, yeah, you have a plan, you have a goal, maybe you're studying something to it becomes a specific thing, but then you end up in another place, actually a better place than was planned. So yeah, it's good to have plans, it's good to take risk for a certain outcome, but sometimes you just get into a new environment, a new opportunity by taking risk. It's also very important to remember that when you're taking risk on a daily basis, it trains you to not be afraid of changes and new things. When you're taking a lot of risk, it just compounds over time, and then you will become a better version. You will meet interesting people, you will go on more adventures. Yeah, it's very important that you take risks, and at the end of the biggest risk is never taking any risk. I know it's cliche.
Which is also a risk.
I know it's a cliche, but it's true. If you never take chances and never take risks, you'll just stay in your little comfort zone.
Yeah, you can think of it like this, like staying in your comfort zone, not taking risks, it's a form of risk that's not going to have downside in the short term, but it's one that will have huge downside in the long term. Whereas taking other kinds of risks and being riskier with other things might have a lot of downside in the short term, but it might help you getting into positions in which opportunities that you didn't expect would present themselves to you in the long term. So either way, you're taking a risk. The risk you take by not taking risks is more hidden for longer, but then the downside in that is going to be longer. It is going to be bigger in the long term.
Yeah, and also especially to girls, and not only girls, but people in general. When you meet people, you can quickly get a sense of, oh, this person is a go-getter. He or she is not afraid of taking risk, getting out of the comfort zone, trying new things. And also the opposite. You can feel when you meet a person, oh, this person is really, really timid, yeah, and not willing to take a lot of risks. And this is a very positive trait to have when you can take risk and are open for new opportunities. Yeah. When you challenge yourself in new environments, getting into new environments, learning new skills, getting to know new people, whatever, right? When you challenge yourself to set goals and achieve them, then you also, first of all, you become a better person. You challenge yourself to grow, and this is where a lot of people go wrong. You need to grow your whole life. People think, if I just stay the same, it's just good. But no, other people will outrun you, and you will be left behind, basically. So it's always important to keep growing in your job or you're expanding your network. Challenge yourself, because otherwise you just stay stagnant, I would say.
Yeah. And also very importantly, it's very important to note that failure is more important in the pursuit of success than small successes. Like small failures and large failures will help you quicker and more effectively discover what it is you're doing wrong. So like you can't improve if you're not trying. And the most important part of trying is to make mistakes. And it's the error part of the trial and error. More you help yourself figure out what not to do and like how to do things right. If you don't take risk, you're not trying, you're not making errors, and you're not discovering how you can get better. So.
Yeah, and a big part of taking risk and challenge yourself, as you said, you're failing, but you need to fail to succeed. Whatever you want to achieve, you need to try it out, and then you will fail, you'll get up, and you'll learn from it. And this is what a lot of successful people have in common. They just try everything, and they are not afraid of failing because they know it's not the end of the world. You can just get up and learn from it and try something else, yeah.
I mean, look at Elon Musk. Like, how many businesses does he have? How many different types of ventures, from like, space travel to like hybrid cars to like PayPal? Like, they're very different kinds of things, but like, he clearly was a person who wasn't afraid of like investing money and time and taking chances on very different types of projects in very different domains and like industries. So again, like, he's probably also a person like who has just realized in order to succeed, you have to make a lot of errors and you have to be willing to take a lot of risks and try a lot of different things to figure out what works and what you're good at.
Basically, you should go really fast from, I can't do it, to just try out a lot of things, and then you'll learn, it's not the end of the world. Okay, I didn't know how to do this thing, but I learned this and this and this, and then now I'm in a much better position to succeed in other things. And that's just life, I think a lot of people are stuck because they're worried too much what other people think of them. And at the end of the day, like, who cares? Like, you can learn so much by watching what other people also are trying out, and then see if you can get into something like they're doing. Yeah.
And also realize, like, the place that might be the place where you quote unquote belong in life might be a place that you have never even considered yet. Like, I know that there are a lot of people, like, you've probably met them also, like, who just from the time they were like 15 or like something, they just knew, okay, like, I do this, then I go to high school there, and then I get this grade, and then I go to university and study business administration or medicine, and then I get into the regency for this and this many years at this hospital, and then I'm gonna be. But actually, many people, they probably end up, in the long term, they end up doing something very different than they had ever considered. Like, they might be like, I thought that I was gonna be doing, like, you probably didn't realize that this was gonna be something at one point in your life. Like, this was something, like, this wasn't even in your mind anywhere, like, it never even occurred. But like, over time, you just discover through life that there are certain, you have skills and qualifications, and as your knowledge accumulates, like, you might find, and your interests kind of change and you mature, there are things where you suddenly realize, wow, I actually might be good at this thing, or I might take a shot at this thing, and then you realize that, like, wow, I had 5-10 years ago, I was convinced I was going to be doing something like this for a living. I had no idea. But that's the thing, like, trial and error, like, being willing to try new things can also help you realize that the place where you might be more satisfied with what you're doing and more successful with what you're doing might be a place that you have never even considered. So that also requires a kind of willingness to try new things.
Yeah, that's a good point. A man's greatest burden is unreleased potential, and that's actually true. I think a lot of people are going the mediocre lifestyle and don't take a lot of chances and don't challenge themselves that much. At the end of the day, you need to take a lot of risk and develop your skill set and also push yourself, because these are the things that create adventures, new connections, and expand your horizontal.
Yeah. And of course, as Dan Pena has once pointed out, like, it's not necessarily like that you're the most intelligent person or that you're the one with the greatest genetics in some sense. Like, it's just like sometimes success is just dependent on your own mindset and just your own willingness to just grind and like work your ass off. The reason it's important to point this out is that some people might use certain excuses why they shouldn't, put themselves out there and take risks. I think we've talked about this before. Like, sometimes it might just be a crutch. It might just be an excuse that you use, that yes, you can talk about like risk taking and putting yourself out there, but I'm not this guy. I'm not that guy, I'm not the one who got the good grades. I'm not the one who has like the good looks. But again, like, if you actually start working at things and like taking risks, and again, trial and error, you allow yourself to discover what works and what doesn't work. Like, you might actually be surprised how far you can get in terms of success. And it almost doesn't even matter what arena it is. Like, you might be surprised how far you could, even in places where you might not be successful per se, like, you might realize that you could get farther than you realized you could.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at it, like, for example, who's gonna learn how to fish? The man who's just testing out in the water and try to different bites and for the fish and try to learn by experience, or a man who's sitting at home reading a book about it? Like, you need to be out in the field and test things out. And it really doesn't matter if you succeed in the first couple of tries, because it's just a learning process.
There's this book that I consider reading. I just stumbled across it not that long ago. It's called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, like the famous angel investor and entrepreneur. I haven't read the book yet, but like as far as I understand, his thesis is, or his point is, some people might look at all various different kinds of industries and think about, okay, success in these arenas will be that I am the one who produce the highest profits for my company, or like I extract the most knowledge or the most whatever profit in this place. But it might be that like there are places that you haven't even thought about yet, in which we don't even once discovered that you can make a profit, or you can provide something of value to people here. Like we don't even know what the high point of return is in that area. So like I think his point is to like be open-minded and think about the fact that like we haven't discovered yet like all the places in which you can discover your potential or achieve success, because there is so much trial and error yet to be tried or to be done.
Yeah, that's so true. And here's the thing, nobody is gonna test that out for you. Nobody's gonna do the trying and error for you. So if you don't discover it, sorry to say, but you just stay mediocre. So that's why it's a very good skill set to take chances and calculate the risk and put yourself out there. You know, just being around new people, being in new environments, challenge yourself to do better and learn something new. And also in the process, you'll learn something new about yourself, a skill set you didn't know you had, or find a new hobby, being into a new sport or whatever it is.
Find your best friends.
Exactly. Find your best friends, find a girlfriend, whatever it is. Also, life is meant for you to explore around and test around a lot of things before you find something that you really want. And that you like, yeah, for sure. All right, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, I'm pretty sure you would like this video that's popping up here. This was the last episode we made where we talked about women and hypergamy, a very popular topic. I think you will like that, so you can click that and watch that. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it. And then we will see you in the next video.